Okie dokie. Artichokey. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Nance Revolution. We're back once again with exciting news. Actually, there is no exciting news. I'm doing a little sound check. I made some changes here in the old home office. I made some changes to the Battleship. And what is the Battleship? Well, the Battleship is my computer, but it's also the desk that it sits on. It's the cameras, it's the microphones, it's the multiple monitors, the multiple hard drives, the routers, the cables, all the myriad things that make up my setup is the Battleship. I made some changes, so we're doing a little sound check just to see if the changes I made had the desired effect or if they in fact had deleterious effects. I don't know, and I won't know, in fact, until I hit stop and I hit play. So I can hear what's happening in my nice, expensive Bowers & Wilkins headphones. So I don't know. Don't know what I sound like right now. It's an odd thing, right? The voice. I remember the first time. This is not true. This is not the first time. Because I actually used to do like plays and productions and shit when I was a small child. I was a little tiny little boy, little warthog. And I don't remember that, although I do remember seeing video of me singing songs about Jesus and singing songs about, and the little frog jumped up on the head, and that's weird. You ever go back through old home movies? Is that even a thing anymore? Do people come across old home videos anymore and pop it in the VCR and dive deeply into some strange nostalgia? I don't know. Or do we all just have it on our camera rolls on our phones, or Google Photos, or like Siri, or you get the notification, remember when, and it's 4 years ago, that one trip you took with that one person who you don't want to remember, you don't want to think about because the memories are all too painful. But Google has your number, and Google wants you to remember. In fact, Google wants you to get drunk and text them tonight at 1 a.m. Google wants you to send a drunk text that says, "You up?" Because Google knows that whether you go off and reconnect with this person and have a healthy, happy relationship, which is highly unlikely, or whether you do the booty call, or whether you get no response, those three things, Google's got it covered, because guess what? There's a solution for any of those situations. If you do strike up a successful romantic relationship, well, guess what? You can buy the Valentine's Day cards and the chocolates and the teddy bears and the gifts for one another. And it's just another avenue for Google. And of course, Google here is standing in for all of it and all of them. Although them is not a word that I want to use uncritically here. And so I won't be using that word. But Google is a stand-in for, capital as such, right? Google knows that they have a solution for everything you need. So if you are in a satisfying, healthy, long-term lasting relationship, there's a commodity for that. And if you're just in it for the booty call, there's a commodity for that too. And you're going to keep doom scrolling or booty scrolling or whatever it is you're doing. And you're going to keep reaching out. You're going to keep trying to hit up motherfuckers. You're going to keep doing all the things you're doing. You're going to continue to produce data. You're going to continue to consume commodities. You're going to buy the Goldschlager because bitches like Goldschlager, right? Or Apple Puckers or Smuckers or whatever the fuck that shit's called. Or the Boone's Farm, fucking Strawberry Hill or whatever. They got that shit too. And if, in fact, you get no response and you just dive deep into this isolation, this loneliness, even become a gooner, Google's got you covered there too. They're going to harvest data from your browsing habits. What subreddits are you going to? What OnlyFans creators are you going to? What websites are you going to when you're so lonely? And also, rather than buying the Goldschlager or the fucking apple liqueur, or the fucking cheap fucking Boone's Farm wine, or the Mad Dog 2020, you're going to go buy whiskey, or you're going to go buy, some Knob Creek or some Bullet or some Maker's Mark. Or maybe maybe you're a beer drinker. You're going to go buy some Bud Light or some Coors Light or whatever. And you're going to consume. Google doesn't care about the particulars of what you're doing because Google knows that for the most part, functionally, and for the most part, notice I say functionally, or not proximally, functionally, there is a difference. And for many of you, that won't even ring a bell, right? But for those of you who are in the know, I am saying functionally and for the most part, as opposed to proximally and for the most part. And there's a reason why I'm doing so, but I actually probably should write the piece. So just disregard. I didn't say that at all. I never said for the most part. I never say for the most part. That's not a phrase I use. But anyway, functionally, Google knows that you are trapped in a prison and there is no escape. And the prison is functionally consumption. And it's also data production, because data production is done in the act of you consuming. And so they're making money when you buy things. They're also making money when you shop for things. They're also making money when you don't buy things. And they're also making money when you produce things. Like, we all already know that that's the way it works, right? You make money, there's a surplus of value, they take it, right? And same thing with commodities. When you purchase commodities, there's a surplus and they take it. And once again, I'm using this word they. And look, I shouldn't even have brought it up, but it has recently been brought to my attention that here on the internet, people like to make inappropriate jokes. And just the other day, during one of the Why Left podcast episodes, there were some people in the live chat making some inappropriate jokes. First and foremost, there was someone there calling Benjamin Studebaker a fascist. And fuck you, homeboy. That's why you got banned. And actually, I put you in timeout. I didn't ban you. Actually, I didn't ban you at all. Dave banned you after you came back from that timeout and you were trying to argue. And I was trying to take the time to explain it to you that, hey, this is not an argument. Whatever struggle you're having, I forfeit. I concede. You win. We are not here to struggle. We are not here to argue. You can take the symbolic victory. Now that you've won, shut the fuck up. Stop talking, or at least stop saying the things you're saying. Say other things. Say better things. Say constructive things that add to the space, rather than make the space more hostile and more asinine and more inane and more retarded for all of us that are here right now. But you chose to continue arguing, and so then you got banned. So fuck you, homie. But then there were these other people who were making inappropriate jokes about a certain type of person. And they were saying the thing, in the fucking parentheses, multiple parentheses, this and that, blah, 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 them. They were making those jokes. And look, in person, I make a lot of jokes, or not even in person, but with people with whom I have some shared background. I have a rapport. I have even something that might be called a relationship. It's easy to make jokes. It's easy to make quote unquote edgy jokes, because we know the intent behind them and we know this is a joke. The intention is to get us to laugh. There's no malice here. I'm not offering some crazy conspiracy theory. I'm making a joke, and I am the type of person who likes jokes. And so, with people with whom I know, joking, I really do think, I don't believe in anything being off limits or taboo or whatever. But in the internet, or on the internet rather, in a live chat, because the space is flattened, because the space is two-dimensional, because I don't know you, and I don't know if you know me. You might know me. You might be a member of the audience. You might think, oh, this will get them to laugh because they've said something similar in the past, or whatever. Or you could be somebody that I know and I talk to, but you're using an alias or a sock account or whatever, and it's not known that this is who you are. So in this two-dimensional space where you're just a name on a screen, I can't tell if you're joking or if you're an actual piece of shit douchebag. So I banned several people the other day online for making jokes. And so I've been more critical of the words I've been using the last few days, just I guess stemming from that incident. So anyway, what am I saying? I'm saying that Google will send you those memories, those moments. Remember this. Remember when you went to Chicago with Christina? Remember when you went to Salt Lake with Vivian? Remember when you did all these things? Like, remember. even if you don't want to remember it, because it really is just like a strategy to keep you engaged and to get you either, I mean, maybe it does strike up a reconnection with someone, and then you go off and you do become, a partnership or whatever. That's interesting from the perspective of Google. But even if you don't, even if it goes nowhere, you're still engaging with the platform. You're spending more time looking at old photos. And they care about that. They care about you being and staying engaged. They don't care about the particulars of your engagement. So it is weird. Happens to me often where I'll get a notification on my phone and I'll look at it and it's Google Photos and it's saying 4 years ago, 10 years ago even, which is just so uncanny, dude. But I wonder, do people still have a cardboard box full of old VHS tapes that they periodically stumble upon, when cleaning the house, or maybe when moving, or maybe when your aunt dies and you go to clean out all her shit, you find a box of videos, you pop it in the VCR and you watch in a strange kind of, I don't know what the feeling is. Maybe it's horror, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's nausea, maybe it's, I don't know. And I think it's probably different for everybody, and it might even be different every time. There's definitely a kind of enjoyment that comes out of it as well. But anyway, as I was saying, initially, before I launched into this screed about Google and inappropriate jokes, I remember, I guess the first time I became cognizant of the fact that electronic media changes the voice in a weird way. And it's not just that, like, it changes the voice. I think it probably does change the voice. I mean, I think it's like unavoidable. It's inescapable. Of course, it's going to like change the voice in ways. Like you can tell when you're listening to a recording versus listening to a live person speak. For the most part, again, this is not exact, right? I'm sure we've all been fooled. I'm sure we will continue to be fooled. Especially now where we live in the future, when we have like AI generated voices that are getting decently good to the point that sometimes they can in fact fool people. People can't tell if they're listening to a recording or a generated artifact or whatever. But I think for the most part, in general, we can tell the difference if you're talking to someone, or if you're, well, not even talk, if you're listening to a person speak versus if you're listening to a recording. So it does change the voice. It changes the qualities of the voice for sure, in general. Yeah, like when you meet someone in real life for the first time and you hear their voice and how that changes from, the voice that you may have heard in like a Zoom call or on a YouTube video or whatever. That's a real thing. Yeah. Anyway, some people have really nice voices, and some people not so much. But anyway, I remember the first time that I became cognizant of like how listening to yourself, and I think it matters less if it's electronic media or like tangible. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a digital analog. So I think it matters less if it's analog or digital or, physical or electronic or whatever, even though electronics is a physical medium. It's just different. It's electrons instead of, anyway, blah, 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 blah. I think that matters less. But when you hear your voice played back to you for the first time, or not for the first time. Why am I stuck on this first time thing? Hearing your voice played back to you is strange. Hearing your voice played back to you is uncanny. I deal with it a lot because of the work that I'm engaged in. And so it's gotten, I guess, more bearable now, even though it is still largely difficult to listen to myself. I do have a distaste for listening to myself, which makes it difficult to like do shit on YouTube and do shit on audio recordings and even record audiobooks where I have to listen to myself back to do proofreading or proof listening, I guess, which is why maybe it would be easier if I had a partner. And I've actually been thinking about this for a while now. Well, I guess in general, yeah, for a while now, but even more specifically, look at that. Google just sent me a notification. We made a cinematic photo for you, and it's an old photo. Anyway, recently, I started thinking again about, I guess, more in a more particular fashion. What would it look like to have a partner in this audio book recording and production world? Maybe that would be cool. You know, I could listen to them, they could listen to me, we could work together. But then it would like, how do you share money? Money's stupid. I fucking hate money. But we all need it. But any fucking way. I remember I was a teenager and we had a little video camera and we used to use it to record skateboard videos. And we also just recorded dumb shit like walking around the house, going to a party. I remember we were at one party and it was with a bunch of older dudes because that's how we used to get down. Me and my buddy Stub, we were the two younger dudes. Everybody else was older than us, but we were the crazy little vatos, and we did the craziest shit. So they let us hang out with them. I remember walking around at a party. Stub and I duct taped 40s to our hands because that was a game we used to play. It was called Edward 40 Hands. Instead of Edward Scissor Hands, it's Edward 40 Hands. So you duct tape 40-ounce bottles of beer to your hand, and you can't, like, the only way to get them off is you have to drink them. So we're like little 14-year-old punk rockers walking around this party with a bunch of like fucking Latino gang members, and we have 40s duct taped to our hands and shit. But Stub also, like, we had the duct tape on our hands, but Stub had also covered like his entire lower body in duct tape. I don't know how we got so much duct tape, but like he was like, oh, I'm a spaceman, and we were all fucked up. And like, I remember like watching video of that after the fact, like people had gotten us on video acting a fool. That definitely would have gone up on the internet had, you know, we had social media at the time back in the day, and it definitely would have got people canceled. It definitely would have got people probably thrown in jail because it's like incontrovertible evidence of the fact that we're little 14-year-old dudes smoking crack and drinking alcohol and like vandalizing shit like it anyway. But we had this video camera, and we did use it primarily to record skateboarding videos because back then it's what you had to do. I got a lot of mouth noise going on right now. I don't know how that's going to sound. I didn't, by the way, stop and listen. So I still don't know what I sound like. But anyway, bing bong, bing bong. What am I saying? What did I look at? And I just got distracted. That's what I looked at. I saw a picture on my computer screen. And it totally hijacked my mental faculties. Video camera. Yeah, back in the day, we didn't have cell phones. You couldn't just like record something on your phone. You had to have an actual video camera. And they came on little VHS tapes that you had to put into a little adapter to put into a VHS player. And even for a while, there were like Betamax video rather than VHS video. That's the format of the film itself. So anyway, you had to record it and you had to do all this post work on it. And look, we didn't do any work on it. We just took it straight out of the camera, put it right into the little adapter, popped it in the dual VCR and recorded it onto another blank tape. And then we would actually like send that tape off to like skateboard companies. It'd be like, hey, sponsor me. I'm a good skateboarder. Look how cool I am. And sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it doesn't. But I don't know how it works now. I imagine now kids just record shit on their phone and then like fucking email it to somebody and be like, sponsor me. And probably for the most part, most of the companies are like, no, fuck you. And like, I don't even know if they do that. Like they probably just upload all their shit to Instagram and someone reaches out like a brand manager. And they're like, hey kid, I think you're cool. You got some type of special something, some charisma. You got the je ne sais quoi, something. We want to hook you up. Anyway, I remember it was a skit. We were filming a skit. And I had a motorcycle helmet and I put it on my head backwards. And my buddy Stub was recording me. Or maybe it was Joey. I think it was Stub. And he set up the camera and he started recording me. And I sat in the center of his bedroom. And I put the motorcycle helmet on my head backwards. And I remember looking at the camera and I said, hi, my name's Phil. I have an extremely large head. And then I don't know the rest. It was little skits, little sketches. But I remember watching that back, and I was horrified when I heard my voice. I was like, oh my gosh, is that what I sound like? That's horrific. I can't believe I sound like that. I want to die. I don't want to spend the rest of my life sounding like that. Yeah. So I guess we never really know what we sound like, right? Because like there's the like what you sound like to you when you're talking, but that's already different, right? Because you're not hearing what other people hear, because you also have the vibrations from your vocal cords working their way up your spine and vibrating your little cochlear witchamajiggies. So you already sound different to self from the way you sound to others, just like physically, functionally. And then on top of that, there's this whole like psychological dimension of like, you know, this is your identity. This is me. This is my voice. So you can never really come into like an objective relation with how you sound. So when I say I don't know what I sound like right now, I'm wrong. What I should say is I never know what I sound like, but sometimes I have an idea, because I know when looking at my computer, when I look at the battleship and the way I have things set up, I know, oh, I have an idea what all I just did is going to do to the playback. So when I'm hearing this, I have an idea of what it's going to sound like. But right now, I don't. I mean, I do still have an idea, right? Like I know enough about the battleship and just in general about the way all of it works to have an idea. But I was looking for a specific change, and I don't know if I have achieved that or not with the changes I made. Now, I suspect I didn't. Because if it were an easy problem to solve, I would have solved it by now. So this is a problem I've been dealing with. I'm trying to get my voice to sound better. And it's not just because I look at myself, or rather hear myself and think, ugh, yuck, I hate myself. Though that is there, though that is like an inescapable fucking thing that I'm going to have to deal with for as long as I'm doing this type of work. There's also the fact that like objectively, I could achieve a better sound if I just had a better setup, if I had a proper studio instead of this office in my home, you know, with the hard tile floor and the glass window right in front of me and the glass fucking door and the hard walls and the hard ceiling. So I got foam up on the wall, and I'm trying to change my setup and all this stuff. And also if I had like actual real software instead of trying to do this like bullshit bootstraps, shoestrings, duct tape bullshit I'm trying to, but anyway. Yeah. So that's what we're doing here. And I think I decided to just go ahead and record a podcast episode and upload it, because I haven't done one in a few weeks, or maybe a week or two. I don't even know, dude. I don't know the way time works. I don't know how time works. And it's not just because I'm skeptical of like time as such. It's not just because like I think we do live in some strange type of block universe where time, you know, future, past, and present are all kind of coexistent. And like primordial and real, and also like virtual all at once, all at the same time. Like they're both virtual and actual all at the same time. So it's like this kind of emergent thing that's going on all at once. Not just because of that, but also I don't know how time works. Okay, look, I don't know what time is it? It's 1:36 p.m. right now where I am here in Arizona on whatever day it is, whatever month it is, whatever year it is. Like I never really know what day it is because I don't work in an office anymore, and I don't like have to go drive my car to work every day. So like I know when it's a weekday, and I know when it's a weekend, usually, though not always. But But yeah, it's weird, man. Like working from home is weird. And also like the type of working that I've been, privileged enough to be engaged in is also weird. But it also is the case that like I have to like be at least somewhat aware, because like working with other people, like you have to be aware of like time and dates and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess I have like a resistance or a block or whatever to that. Like I just I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't, it's daytime, it's nighttime. It's time to work. It's time to be done working. People will hit me up if I'm late for something, which definitely does happen. I will get a phone call or a text message or an email, someone being like, "Hey, where are you?" And I'll be like, "Oh shit, I'll be right there," and then I'll join the Zoom call or whatever, or I'll get a phone call from the kid, be like, "Hey, will you help me with this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, hold on, I'm at the skate park. Let me come home from the skate park." Whatever, dude. I'm not good with time. I'm not good with scheduling. I'm not good with any of that stuff. So I don't know if it's been a week or 3 weeks since I got home from Boise for TUCon. I don't know. I think it's probably been close to 3 weeks, maybe more. I mean, maybe it's already been a whole month. I don't know. I do know there are a lot of exciting things coming up with Theory Underground and with our friends and fellow travelers. I've been working on a lot of things. I got a lot done as far as pieces for publication, pieces that are going to be going into these upcoming volumes. Got a lot done. I do have a couple things that I started in the meantime that I've been working on. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just trying to stay busy. Just been trying to stay busy. I've had some workers in my front yard for, at this point, like over a month. I think they're finally done, so I can get back to work recording these books that I need to be recording. I actually need to reach out to one of the guys and apologize for taking so long, and also not getting back to him and not letting him know why I've been taking so long, because I just like haven't been able to record at home because there's been like pneumatic drills and jackhammers and sweaty workmen right outside my window, legitimately less than 10 feet away from me. Like I was able to see them when I was sitting here at my desk. I was able to see them. I was able to like look at them, and I don't think we made eye contact because like the window, I'm inside, they're outside. So it's bright where they are and it's darker where I am. Even though it's daytime, I have the lights on. It's still darker in here than it is out there. And there's a screen on the window. So like obscured, they weren't able to actually see in the window and make eye contact with me unless they would have like got right up on it. And that would have been weird. And I don't think they did that. I don't think they would have done that. I don't think they were creepy pervert guys. I think they were cool homies, but they were right here, less than 10 feet away from me. They were making noise that would have made the audiobooks just simply unacceptable. So I haven't been able to do that for several weeks. They're finally done. I'm pretty sure they're all the way done, so I can get back to doing that. So that'll be cool. Yeah, I've been writing a lot. Been doing a lot of stuff. A lot of exciting stuff going on with the volumes. I'm excited to dive deep into people's work. Oh, one thing, if you're listening to this and if you planned on getting a submission in, oh shit, just got a text. If you planned on getting a submission in on time and you haven't done so yet, well, you're late. And there are some people who didn't get their submissions in on time, and that sucks. God damn it. Hold on. I do need to pause this because I need to respond to this. Hold on. Pause. Okay. We are back. Actually, hold on. Let me do this. Let me hit this button. Welcome to the Negativity Hour with your host, Nance. Should I say Nance? Like people that have three names, like that. Is that my retort? Like the people who are so cool they can't be contained by one name, so they have all three. Well, I'm cool too, dude. it's not my fault that I only have one name. You know, my parents were poor. They could only afford one. So I'll just repeat it. Nance. That's my Facebook name. Nance. I should change it to Nance. No. Yeah. I hate my fucking name. And no, I actually have a proper name. I have 3 names. I have a first name and a middle name and a last name. But I've been going by Nance for, at this point, how old am I? At this point, almost 20 years. Okay, I've been going by my last name. Now, even sometimes as a kid, I was called Nance. Like playing sports, like playing soccer. I was never really good at any other sports, though I did try baseball and football. And I was a hell of a running back. But I was never really good at any other team sports other than soccer. Actually, I suck ass at baseball. I remember playing baseball one time and I ran to third base. I hit the ball, but I ran to third base instead of running to first base. That was fucking stupid. But yeah, like on the soccer team, the coach would refer to me as Nance. What happened? Did I get quieter? Yeah, see, I should be listening to this instead of like leaning into it and thinking like, that's what I'm doing. I'm recording a whole podcast episode. I should have stopped and listened, but too late for that now. You know, we're halfway done with this podcast episode at this point. I might as well finish, right? It's not like there's anything, you know, the sunken cost fallacy or whatever. Well, and hey, look, man, I have recorded a full hour for this podcast and then just gone after and deleted it. So I don't I don't fucking know, dude. Whatever, dude. Who gives a shit? But yeah, I've been going by Nance for almost 20 years at this point. And you know, sometimes as a kid, people would call me Nance, in certain settings or whatever. But I do, in fact, think of myself as, look, no, I don't. What do I think of myself as? I don't know. That's it's a big question, right? Because sometimes I am Nance, especially, you know, when I'm doing things like what I'm doing right now, recording podcasts and streaming on the internet and even writing. I have come to be known as Nance by people, and that's important. And so it is kind of a mask that I put on, or even a suit or an outfit or a costume that I wear. It's a persona that I can dive into and be Nance, you know, the Nance that you all know, and maybe some of you love him. I'm sure some of you don't. But I don't think of myself as that guy. Sometimes I do. Right now, I am thinking of myself as that guy, which is why it was so easy for me to fall into saying that I do think of myself as Nance. But this is not true. At least it's not entirely true all the time, 100% of the time. Functionally and for the most part, right, it can work, but there's still that surplus. And it's not just this remainder of like, well, I don't fit in to your categories and your labels. Your categories and your labels might say something important and meaningful and correct about me, but there will always be this remainder that escapes signification. It's not just that. Like, that is always going to be the case, which is why names are weird. Names have always been weird to me. I never liked my name. My son is named after me. He is Nance Part 2. One of my sons I have. He's not the only one I have. And that was weird. That was not my plan. My late wife had decided that she wanted to name her first son after me before we got married. And before we even decided we were going to have kids together, because my late wife and I were good friends before we got married. I don't want to say before we struck up a romantic relationship, because I think it was romantic from day one. But we had a long-lasting friendship that transcended that kind of romantic connection. Like, we were friends. We had our little initial collision in 7th grade. Well, she was in 8th grade. I was in 7th grade. I was cool. I had an older girlfriend. So we collided. And then we didn't stay together, right? That would be weird to expect people to meet in 7th grade and then go on to get married and have kids, though it does happen. But no, we didn't stay together, but we did stay good friends. I lived at her house for a while when I was homeless. And she and her family helped out with a lot of things. But yeah, so she had decided that she wanted to name her first son after me before we, I don't know, decided to have kids together or whatever. And then when we did have kids together, she's like, I'm still naming my first son after you. And I didn't want that. And it was an argument, and we argued about it, and I lost that argument. So yeah, there's a Nance part 2 out there in the wide world. But my whole life, I never liked my name. I always felt weird about it. Like, I always felt like when people said my name, they were talking about somebody that didn't really exist. And this is true. They were. We all always are. Whenever we refer to people by their names, we are totalizing them. And we are cheating them of their own infinity, right? And their own virtual potential. And we are saying, I possess this person in a way that's always made me uncomfortable. And again, look, it's inescapable. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And we all always do this. And we all always, we have, like, I don't have contact with others. I have contact with my representation of others and my simulation of others. Now, I think it's possible to allow for like a dialectic, to allow this other to kind of represent themselves and allow them to like overcome your representation of them. And I do try to do that with people. I do try to approach, the world and the people in it in that way of saying, like, I'm going to let you speak for yourself, rather than just trying to totalize and instrumentalize you into my worldview. But look, man, I don't think that's unique. I think most people do that. I think that's what love is. That's what, friendships are. That's what relationships are. It's maintaining that tension, right? It's keeping the negativity open and allowing the other to flow into it rather than, putting wallpaper over it. And the wallpaper is this kind of like representation of that person. Although it's not like we always do that. Just this morning, I found myself in a situation where someone I'm not sure if they're upset with me. I'm not sure if they're disappointed in me. I'm not sure what it is. But this person and I have a little background, not a whole lot. And there's like a private dimension and there's a public dimension and there's kind of tension and there's this kind of like that side of it where it's like, oh, I heard this motherfucker was talking shit and I heard this motherfucker was running his mouth and blah, 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 and this and that. But there also is like, there's also like a concrete other at the bottom of that. Like I do know this person. I have spent time with them. We have hung out. And yeah, we did have good vibes. We had a good connection. But then they've publicly said some things that I maybe don't appreciate. I've publicly said some things that I'm pretty sure they also don't appreciate. And I took responsibility for it. I own my actions. And I will correct my behavior. I'm not the guy that's going to be out here running his mouth and talking shit. So yeah, that's on me. That's my fault. But there's also like in this situation, like as this is kind of unfolding, I'm also critical of like my complicity in not just like me publicly talking shit. And it's not like I was talking shit. Cause again, I try not to be that guy. I try not to be the shit talking guy. But like my complicity in kind of instrumentalizing this other, and rather than allowing the other to speak for themselves and allowing their actions to really kind of shine through. Like, I'm just like, oh, well, this guy said this and this guy did that. So this means, this is his position and this is where he's at. And ultimately, fuck this guy. Like, yeah, I'm complicit in that. I played my part in that. So that's another way too. And what we really should do is allow the other to speak for themselves, right? Allow the other to determine themselves. But we don't. And especially in the media environment today, we don't have room for that. The world just doesn't work that way. We're not allowed to do that. We have to fall back on these representations and these simulations of others. If we want to keep up, or at least try to keep up. And here's the thing, we're never going to keep up. The proliferation of information vastly outweighs our ability to take in and process and respond to information just in general. But then it gets even worse when you're really trying to do it in this like productive, useful way. Like I could sit back and just scroll the internet and collect a person's tweets and, statements and this and that and all the like dumb half-ass bullshit, and like react to it and be like, this is what this person said and this is what I am saying in response. But that's fucking dumb. I'm not trying to do all that. But there's motherfuckers that do that shit, dude. I mean, and there's motherfuckers that I think make a good living doing that. There's motherfuckers that I think have a far more effective reach or range or whatever than I do, right? They reach thousands or even millions of people on the internet, and they kind of influence those people and their worldview and their projects and their projections and all that stuff. So it's not to say that it's like entirely useless, but it definitely sucks. But then like when it comes to this notion of utility, right? Like, well, of course there's utility in it. Like it is feeding back into the world in these like meaningful ways. And it is encouraging people or influencing people to act and even think and believe in certain ways. So there is utility in that. I just think it's all bullshit. And I think maybe the people who are doing that and spreading, that the message that way, I think they're unaware of how they are being used by like existing power structures or existing, structures of influence or whatever in the world. Like they think they're taking part in something when in reality they are just kind of playing a part in a stage or in a play. They're on stage and they're performing a role that would be filled regardless of if it were them or someone else. So maybe this is pseudo activity, right? That Baudrillard talks about. Maybe this is Hans-Georg Müller's second order observation kind of coming back to bite us all in the ass. I don't know. I don't know exactly what to call it. I just know that it's something I've been thinking about for a long time now. And there are other people thinking about it as well. So that's cool. I'm actually getting tired, man. I was in the bath earlier today. I took a bath with salt, trying to soak my body and allow it to heal and rest up from all the gnarly skateboarding I've been doing recently, because I have been making a point to go out and skate hard. And actually, last week, I think, maybe last week, once again, I don't know how time works. I don't know how days work. I think it was last week. I was skating twice a day. Normally I go out and I skate in the morning. But for whatever reason, I found myself in this particular libidinal bind where I had a surplus of frustration, maybe, I don't know. And I couldn't write. You know, I couldn't really focus when I was here at home trying to get work done. I couldn't really focus. I couldn't get anything done. I felt ineffective. So I decided I would go skate. So I go out, skate first thing in the morning, you know, usually up between 3 and 4. I'm usually out the door by, 4 or 5, and I'm out skating for a while. And then I come home and start the day. But last week or whatever, I was skating twice a day. So I would go out, skate, come back, start the day. And then I would find myself in this situation of just like not being able to get anything done and being unhappy and frustrated about it. So I would go out and skate again, and I would skate fucking hard. So like the first skating session of the day was good, and it's even, I think in a way it's like my own version of meditation. It's exercise. I'm getting out, I'm getting in the world, I'm getting active. It's good for you. But my afternoon sessions were different. They were qualitatively different. They were violent. They were angry. I was pushing myself maybe beyond my limits, or at least maybe beyond certain limits that I'm comfortable with. It really did take a toll on my body. And I don't bounce back the way I used to when I was a little whippersnapper. I'm older now. I'm in my late 30s, and things take time to heal. I actually broke my toe again, and it's all black. Like the whole toe is black. It's weird looking, dude. And my toenails on my big toe on both feet are like black from bruises. So they're at that weird stage where they're like growing out, and the one on the right, just the tip is black, and the one on the left foot, it's like half black, half not black, because it's been growing out. Because, recently I fucked up my feet gnarly, and so both of them were just like black the whole way through. And that took a while to bounce back from. I don't know if you can hear my dog or not, but she is unhappy. She is being silly. But anyway, so that happened a few months ago. Yeah, now she's being fucking stupid, barking. But just recently, like last week, I broke my toe again. And so the toe itself is black. So I have like a half black toenail, and the toe itself is black. It's like Mr. Deeds, except it's just my toe. It's not the whole foot, but it's gross. It's gnarly. My feet are gross. And they're hairy, like hobbits' feet. That's weird. Why are we talking about my feet? I don't know, man. But I am going to pause recording and let my dog out because she is unhappy. So I will return. Okay, and we're back. That's more of a visual gag, I guess. Yeah. Oh, why left? Dave and Benjamin Studebaker's new podcast is actually about to go live on YouTube right now. And then after that, I'm going to go live on YouTube, and we're going to wind up watching something. We're going to do Saturday morning cartoons with Nance. We'll be doing that live on YouTube after the Why Left episode is done. So that'll be cool. here on this Friday afternoon. Oh no, golly, hold on. Okay, we're good. I hit a button and I thought it was gonna mess everything up, but it didn't. We are good. But yeah, so why left is about to go live on YouTube, so I'm gonna go watch that. I'm gonna jump in the YouTube chat, shoot the shit, and hang out there for a little bit with Dave and Benjamin and all the YouTube viewers. And then I'm gonna go live on YouTube after the fact, and we're gonna be watching a little bit of something live on stream, and then I will just be talking and rambling and blah 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 blah. So that'll be cool too. But while I have you here for, I don't know, 10 more minutes or so, I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of close it up. And I don't really know. Don't really have much to say, even though I just talked for almost an hour. I didn't plan on it. Like, I really did just intend to do a sound check and then get back to work. I'm writing. Got shit to do. I'm trying to be productive, but I felt the need to jump on here and record another episode of the Negativity Hour, because I haven't done so in a while. And look, man, I don't know. I'm not looking at the stats. That's a tab that I just never open. And it's funny. Substack really pushes stats, like every time, not every time, but a lot of the time when I open Substack, either on my phone or on the desktop, you know, up at the top, it says view stats, for your most recent post or whatever. Yeah, dude, I'm not that guy, dude. Like, I don't know, man. I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my time thinking about these things that get in the way of whatever the hell it is I'm trying to do here. Now, I understand at some point there will come a time when I kind of have to put my big boy pants on and start giving a shit about stats and, you know, numbers and all that stuff. It does matter. It is important. Yeah, maybe, but also maybe not. Maybe that's not the best metric for gauging, you know, whether or not whatever the hell it is I'm trying to do here is successful. Now, I don't even know what it is I'm trying to do here. Am I trying to communicate? Am I trying to vent? Am I trying to get shit off my chest? Am I trying to kind of, you know, actualize and edify myself and become, you know, a figure in your field of vision, in your field of view, dear listener? Sure. Am I trying to, you know, keep the demons at bay? Am I fighting against the silence, the howling whirlwind? Sure. Am I trying to extend my reach and influence people? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, all those things, sure. But also, like, there's also a part of it where it's like, I don't know, man. I'm also just like doing this, you know? I don't know, man. I don't know. But whatever it is, yeah, I think there's more appropriate metrics than just stats and engagement, you know, and hours, listening time and likes and relikes and shares and posts and restacks and blah, 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 all these things. I don't know. I think there's a better way to really tell if anyone is hearing what I'm saying and if what I'm saying is coherent and worthwhile, or if I am just kind of screaming into the wind. And I don't know, man. I mean, I think like engagement in the form of like people responding to me, or people sharing their work with me. I think that is better. Like, not only is it more gratifying and more satisfying, I also think it's better because I would prefer like one person sharing their work, you know, sharing a handful of essays and saying, look, this is what I've been working on. This is where your thought fits into what I'm working on. Here you go. And by the way, Pete, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate you sharing your work with me. And I have been busy and I have not got around to it. And I just want to tell you straight up, I've been busy, and look, that's constructed. That's contrived. I've been keeping myself busy, but I've been busy nevertheless. And I haven't got time to go through your work, but I am excited to go through it. I did skim some of it and I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I think that matters more than like looking at stats, at least for me, from my current perspective. I don't even know why did I start talking about stats? I don't know. My brain is starting to unravel. I'm at the point where I think I do need to just go sit down for a few minutes, and let the world crash over me like waves on the beach to kind of recollect myself, because I think I'm a little spent. I'm a little tired. So I made reference to being in the bath earlier today. Took a bath with nice bath salts, had a nice phone conversation, talked about some things. And yeah, but now I'm tired, and maybe I'll even take a nap, though I doubt it. Taking naps is hard to do, but I will at the very least, you know, kind of sit here for a few minutes and just let my brain go into recovery mode, let my body go into recovery mode, and recollect myself. Yeah, because I'm tired, dude. But anyway, yeah, this kind of petered out, right? I feel like I was going strong for the first 20 minutes. Maybe not, actually, now that I think about it. But I don't know, maybe there was like a 20-minute window in the last hour where I was going strong, where I did have some momentum, and I did say some things worth being said. But I definitely seem to have lost the thread at this point. Oh, do I? So should I go back and listen to this? Listeners. Now I don't want to, because now it's so long. Like, I initially set out to do this sound check because I wanted to know what I sound like. Even though that's an impossible task, even though I will never know what I sound like, right? Like, objectively, I wanted to get a better idea of how I sound in this format via this medium, because I made some changes to the battleship and I just wanted to have a better idea of what was going on. But I haven't done that yet. And now I'm like, well, shit, I got this episode. I got it in the bag. Am I going to go back and listen to it? Because if I listen to a little bit here and there, I mean, that'll give me the idea. But then I'll get invested and I'll be like, oh, this is stupid. I should just delete this. That was just a waste of time. I didn't say much. And while these things may be true, I also don't want to just waste, my time. Waste is huge. I've been thinking about waste for a long, long, long time. And I kind of want to like develop a method where I don't waste anything, and not like back back in the day, there was this song. It was like recycle, reduce, reuse, and you can something, 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 recycle, reduce, reuse. But I don't know what happened to that. Also, I used to watch Captain Planet. That shit went hard. Also, I like for a long time, I was really concerned with like my ecological impact, my carbon footprint, and all that stuff. And I still am. I am just less engaged in that world and that lifestyle. I very much am okay with waste and even sometimes flamboyance. I think it's important. I think excess it's important, and we shouldn't cheat ourselves. We shouldn't disallow ourselves the joy of excess, because I think it's important, and I think it matters to the human to be able to like indulge in excess from time to time. Look, I'm not saying like let's all just go be hedonists. Bring about the fall of Rome part 2. I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying like that, like this world, this existence of like always doing calculations and always thinking about like, oh, I can't be wasteful. I can't be this. I can't be that. I need to be efficient. I need to be effective, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, sometimes I want to go buy a cheeseburger and eat half of it and throw the other half away. Sometimes I want to go buy a soda bottle and fucking take one drink of it and then leave it out for, all day and then come back to it. And then it's warm and flat. And I decide I'm just going to dump this in the sink and throw away the bottle. Sometimes I want to do that. Sometimes, like it's, I don't know. We need to give ourselves affordances. We can't be hard on ourselves all the time. We can't have this like monastic existence where everything is of the highest import. We need to be able to I don't know, just be silly, be wasteful, be dumb. We need to be able to do that. Can't be ascetics. But when it comes to like work, this recording, writing, reading, conversing, all this stuff, I want to develop a method where none of this goes to waste, or at least as little as possible goes to waste. So I'm not sitting here recording a podcast episode for an hour and then deleting it. So I'm not sitting there having a private conversation with someone for 3 hours that was amazing and brilliant, but that never really goes anywhere, and we don't continue talking to each other because we're both busy or blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and look, the whole private public thing, that's weird. I kind of spent a little time on that just a few minutes ago talking about the situation I'm in today where, I have publicly disappointed somebody or publicly offended somebody or whatever. I don't know. We need a private world too. So it's not like I'm saying I'm going to never just talk to people. I actually want to just talk. I think we all need times where we can just talk. But when it comes to this, when it comes to like recording a podcast episode, when it comes to writing a piece, I don't want to write 6,000 words and then be unhappy with it and then delete it and hit, or, highlight all of it and hit delete and start over. I don't want to do a stream that's going to live behind a paywall somewhere that very few people ever see and never goes anywhere. Like, yeah, I want to find a way to make sure that the actual productive work I do isn't wasted. Now, was this podcast episode productive? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the only productivity that happened here was me getting some things off my chest. Though I don't know. I don't know if I really got anything off my chest this time. I don't know, but I don't know. But look, again, going back to this like non-communicative space where maybe sometimes you don't need anything other than just like an unscripted human voice. I think that matters too. And I think I'm for better or for worse, I think I'm engaged in producing that for some people too. Like You know, you don't have to be always studying. You don't have to always be going all the time. Go, 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 go. Maybe sometimes you just want to listen to somebody talk about nothing. And I think I can do that too. And that matters. We shouldn't disregard that. We shouldn't disavow that. We are humans. Sometimes we need to be stupid, wasteful idiots. We just should be aware of this, and we should not do it all the time. But we also shouldn't act like, you know, we're always serious, important people doing serious, important work. Yes, dude, sometimes you got to play, you know. So anyway, oh no, I just dropped something. Anyway. Oh no. Oh, you didn't even hear that, I think. Anyway, this is Nance. This has been the Negativity Hour. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.